What happens when the polished image of a beloved soul singer collides with hard questions on live television? The answer: no one in that studio was prepared for. What unfolded between Teddy Swims and Kelly Clarkson during what was meant to be a routine promotional chat has since ignited headlines, divided fans, and set social media on fire. It began like any other Tuesday on the Kelly Clarkson Show. The set buzzed with energy, the cameras rolled smoothly, and Teddy Swims, Georgia native, tattooed troubadour, and owner of a voice that had captured millions, was slotted for a 12-minute segment to promote his new album. The banter was light at first, nostalgic stories about his rise from dive bars to viral sensation. But then, Kelly shifted the tone. "So, Jatan," she began, deliberately using his real name, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. "Your rise has been incredible, but there's chatter online about your early performances compared to now. Some fans say your voice sounds different, more produced. What do you say to that?" The room stilled. Teddy's easy grin faltered as his hand went instinctively to his beanie. "Well, Kelly," he answered carefully, "I think that's just evolution. Back then I was singing in bars, recording on an iPhone. Now it's professional studio work. Naturally, it's going to sound cleaner." But Kelly wasn't talking about sound quality. She leaned forward, her voice tightening. "I mean your technique. Vocal coaches online are pointing out inconsistencies. They're questioning the authenticity of your recordings." The audience shifted, sensing the tension. Teddy straightened in his chair, his smile fixed but brittle. "Are you asking if I can actually sing?" he said sharply. "I'm not asking anything," Kelly replied, smooth but firm. "I'm giving you the chance to respond. Because authenticity, well, that's your entire brand. This soulful guy from nothing who made it on raw talent. But some insiders whisper it isn't as organic as it looks." Teddy's jaw clenched. "Insiders? That's vague. If someone doubts me, they can say it to my face instead of hiding behind gossip." Kelly's eyes flickered, her voice turning to steel. "Fine, let's be specific. Some say your viral success was never grassroots, that there was major industry backing from the start, manufactured moments, paid promotion disguised as fan support." The words hit hard. Teddy's southern drawl thickened as his composure cracked. "So now you're not just questioning my voice, you're questioning my entire career on live TV." "I'm asking what your fans deserve to know," Kelly shot back, "because the one thing I can't stand is manufactured authenticity. This industry is full of smoke and mirrors, and sometimes the stories that look too perfect are." The air grew heavy. The crowd leaned forward, caught between disbelief and fascination. Teddy's hands gripped his chair, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "I came here to talk about my music, to connect, not to be ambushed by someone with a personal agenda." Kelly's eyebrow arched. "My only agenda is the truth, to protect the artists who actually fought for their place, instead of being propped up by marketing tricks." The jab landed. Teddy flushed red, then blurted out words he instantly regretted. That's rich. Coming from someone who owes her career to a reality show. Silence. The entire studio froze. Kelly's smile vanished. When she spoke, her voice was glacial. "At least I earned that career. I stood on that stage and sang live. Millions watching. No auto-tune, no studio polish. Just me and my voice. Can you say the same about those viral videos?" The pause that followed seemed endless. Teddy's face drained of color. He knew he'd stepped over a line that could not be uncrossed. Kelly leaned back, eyes burning, her voice now soft, dangerously soft. "You want to go there?" The storm had only just begun. "Fine," Kelly said, her voice cutting through the silence. "Let's talk about reality shows versus reality. When I was on American Idol, every note I sang was judged in real time, by millions. No second takes, no studio wizardry. Just me, or nothing. That's reality." Teddy opened his mouth to fire back, but Kelly raised her hand, eyes locked on him. She wasn't finished. "And your so-called viral breakthrough, the Stay With Me, cover your team pushed as a miraculous one-take moment? Do you want to tell this audience how many takes it really was? Because I've got it on good authority. It wasn't the miracle you pretended it to be." The words hung in the air like smoke. The audience gasped. Off camera, Teddy's publicist was frantically signaling for producers to cut, but neither guest nor host was backing down. Teddy leaned forward, anger lending his voice weight. "You know what this is, Kelly? You're threatened. Threatened by artists who don't have to beg the industry gatekeepers. You can't stand it when someone finds success on their own terms." Kelly laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. "Your own terms. Jayton, nothing about your career has been on your terms. You've got handlers, consultants, vocal coaches smoothing out every imperfection, PR teams scripting your every tweet to look authentic. You're not grassroots. You're a boy band with better tattoos." The audience was dead silent now. Some covered their mouths, others glanced nervously toward the cameras. This was no longer television. It was a knife fight. "That's enough," Teddy growled, his voice trembling with rage. "I don't have to sit here and let you dismantle everything I've worked for, just because of gossip and backroom politics." "Politics?" Kelly's tone sharpened, rising for the first time. "This isn't politics. This is about integrity. Do you know how many real artists are ignored, passed over, because labels chase viral gimmicks like you instead of nurturing actual talent?" Teddy shot to his feet, his chair screeching across the floor. His voice thundered now. "Lady, I've been singing since I was 5. In church choirs, in bars where no one cared, sleeping in my car between gigs just to get to the next show. Don't you dare question my credentials just because I figured out how to use social media to get heard without kissing the industry's ring." Kelly stood too, matching his height, her presence just as forceful. "Using social media is one thing, manipulating it is another, and we both know which category you fall into." The producers were in chaos, waving, cutting their throats, desperate to get to commercial, but the two of them seemed deaf to everything but each other. "You want to know the truth?" Teddy hissed, his voice dropping low enough to rattle the microphones. "You're bitter. Bitter that the industry doesn't revolve around you anymore. Bitter that artists don't need your approval. And bitter that a tattooed nobody from Georgia can do what you do, without begging for permission." Kelly's eyes flashed like lightning. "My approval?" She shot back, her voice trembling with fury. "Honey, you couldn't carry my vocals on your best day. Not with a room full of engineers fixing every pitch. And the fact that you confuse social media clout with talent proves exactly what's wrong with your whole generation of artists." "There. It is," Teddy said, pointing a finger at her like a blade. "The real Kelly Clarkson, not the bubbly talk show host, not the sweet mentor, the bitter has-been who can't stand that the game has changed." The words struck like a slap. For the briefest second, Kelly's face faltered, hurt flashing across her features, before her composure hardened again. "Has been," she repeated, slowly, almost savoring it. "A has-been with multiple Grammys, decades of sold-out tours. A has-been who can still sing circles around industry creations like you. All that success," Teddy shot back instantly, And you're still this insecure about new voices? That's not strength, Kelly. That's desperation. And maybe that's why your show's ratings are slipping. Because the audience can smell it. The studio collectively gasped. Kelly's knuckles whitened on the edge of her chair, her voice trembling now with a dangerous calm. You just made the biggest mistake of your career. The jab about ratings landed like a knife. Kelly's composure shattered. Get out, she said quietly. Teddy blinked, caught off guard. I said get out of my studio. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned. This interview is over. Security can escort you if they need to. I'm done pretending to be professional while you insult everything I've built. The studio was so silent the hum of the cameras filled the air. Teddy stared at her for a long beat, then his bravado snapped back into place. Fine by me, he said coldly. I don't need this platform. I built my career without traditional media, and I'll keep building it the same way. He started toward the wings, then stopped. Turning back, he unhooked his mic pack slowly, savoring the silence. You know what the difference is between us, Kelly? He asked, his voice low, almost intimate. When people listen to my music, they feel something real. When they listen to yours now, he let the words hang, then delivered the blow. They remember when you used to be relevant. The line detonated. Gasps echoed across the studio. Kelly's face cycled, shock hurt, then raw fury. But before she could respond, Teddy ripped the microphone free and dropped it onto his chair with a clatter. Jayton, don't do this. Kelly's tone shifted suddenly, her anger softening to something almost pleading. We can fix this. Edit it down, smooth it out. Make it work for both of us. But Teddy was already shaking his head. Nah, Kelly. You wanted authenticity. This is it. Me walking away from fake people who smile to your face while sharpening knives behind your back. Fake. Kelly's voice cracked, betraying a sliver of vulnerability. I've been nothing but honest with you today. Maybe too honest. But that's not fake. That's real. Real. Teddy laughed bitterly. Real talk would have been warning me off camera. Real talk would have been asking those questions before the red light came on. This wasn't honesty. This was you making good television at my expense. For the first time, Kelly's shoulders slumped. The fire dimmed, replaced by something conflicted. Maybe I came on too strong, she admitted. But the question still mattered. Your fans deserve to know who they're really supporting. They already know. Teddy shot back, steadier now, almost calm. They're supporting someone who clawed his way up from nothing. Someone who never forgot where he came from. Someone who doesn't need validation from people who've forgotten what real music feels like. The words stung. Kelly straightened. Defensive walls snapping back into place. Lost touch. I connect with my audience every single day. I use this show to give new artists a stage. To celebrate them. You celebrate the ones who fit your idea of success. Teddy countered. The ones who came up the same way you did. But when someone takes a different path, suddenly, they're not authentic enough for you. Kelly opened her mouth, then closed it again, silenced, if only for a moment, by the weight of his words. The pause stretched, heavy with everything said, and everything that couldn't be taken back. This right here, Teddy said finally, his voice strong again, was what's wrong with this industry. People like you, gatekeepers, deciding who's worthy and who isn't. Well, guess what? The gates are gone. And that terrifies you. It doesn't terrify me, Kelly replied, but her voice lacked conviction. It concerns me. Concerns me when talent gets buried under marketing, when authenticity gets drowned out by manufactured stories. And who made you the judge? Teddy demanded. His voice cracked with raw emotion. Who gave you the right to decide whose story is real and whose isn't? You don't know me. You don't know my sacrifices. Kelly's anger finally slipped away. For a moment, she looked small, almost vulnerable. Her voice softened. You're right. I don't know all of your story. But I know this industry. And I know what it does to artists who get pulled into the machine. I've seen too many lose themselves. That might be your story. Teddy replied, his tone gentler now, though still edged with defiance. But it's not mine. And maybe instead of assuming the worst about people who do it differently, you could accept that the world's changed. The crew was frozen, unsure whether to cut to commercial or let the moment play out. Kelly looked around, at the cameras, the staff, the wide-eyed audience, and then back at Teddy. Her voice was quiet but clear. Maybe you're right. Maybe I've gotten too comfortable. Too quick to judge. But I still believe the questions needed to be asked, even if I asked them the wrong way. Teddy studied her for a long beat, measuring the sincerity in her face. Finally he spoke, his voice steady. The questions weren't the problem, Kelly. The ambush was, the accusations disguised as journalism. If you wanted to have a real conversation about authenticity in the music industry. Teddy said, his voice trembling with both anger and restraint. We could have had that. But this was a hit job. Kelly's face flushed. Whether from shame or frustration, no one could tell. That wasn't my intention, she said quietly. Maybe not, Teddy replied, already rising to his feet. The scrape of his chair echoing across the silent studio. But intention doesn't matter when the result is the same. You tried to tear me down on national television. And for what? Better ratings. A viral clip of your own? Jada? Wait. Kelly called after him, but he was already striding toward the edge of the set, his security team scrambling to catch up. At the door, Teddy stopped and turned back, his expression no longer fiery but deeply sad. You know what's really tragic about this, Kelly? We're on the same side. We both love music. We both want to see real talent succeed. But somewhere along the way, you forgot. Destroying other artists isn't the way to lift up the industry. With those final words, Teddy Swims walked out of the studio. Kelly Clarkson was left standing alone on her set, surrounded by stunned crew members and an audience frozen in disbelief. The cameras lingered just a second too long, capturing the raw confusion etched across her face, before the feed abruptly cut to commercial. What began as a routine promotional interview had spiraled into a brutal public reckoning, one that forced uncomfortable questions about authenticity, ambition, and the cost of chasing television drama in the modern music industry. Neither artist walked away unscathed. And the shockwaves from this confrontation, they'll be felt long after the lights in that studio went dark. So, what do you think? Did Kelly have a duty to ask the hard questions about manufactured success, or did she cross the line by ambushing a guest on live television? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more behind the scenes stories that reveal what really happens when the cameras are rolling.